Smith takes the snaps. Eagles only bring 4 this time. Smith to the center of the end zone, and what a catch by Logan Thomas. Touchdown! Touchdown, Washington!
And with that, the NFL season came to an end. The regular season came to an end in a bizarre fashion. But how else would this regular season come to an end? But in a bizarre fashion. Wow, your playoffs are set. Your regular season is done. Your college football playoff final is set. The Lobos are 0-4 on the men's side, and we have a ton to do. But first and foremost, Happy New Year. What is good, y'all? It's the opening drive at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck, Micah back at Radio Ranch, Jay Pohl, and Josh, I believe, is who I saw on the ProView side. Happy New Year. What's good, y'all?
Reunited, and it feels so good. What it do, man? How are you?
Good to be back, man. Weird to wake up, but it's one of those things, man. I'm not going to lie. Last week, after the bowl game was over and not doing, taking the week off of this, like I slept really well until last night. And as soon as I put my head on the pillow and started thinking about, all right, work again tomorrow and this and everything else, it's like, wow, all right, back to not sleeping. Now I get it. Like it's all back to normal. But yeah, crazy stuff, man. How was the New Year? Everything good?
Everything is good. It was a jam-packed weekend, as it has been, which is a good thing to have these days.
Yeah, you worked. Women, the Lady Lobos are playing really well off to a 4-0 start in conference play. And Lobo men really struggling. We're going to get there. But I really want to start with the NFL. And I think, JJ, we're going to get through all of the playoff scenarios and everything that happened yesterday. Can I start with what I believe is the biggest story in the NFL, period? And that is, to me, we got through this whole season and there were no cancellations. However they did it and however rough it was, the fact that they got through this entire season and there were no COVID cancellations, there were delays. That's a big difference. But they played every game on their schedule and they did it within that 17-week time frame, which I thought there was no way. To me, is as big a story as there is.
The NFL played on every day of the week. They utilized all the time they could this season to get it in. I think the biggest thing we saw with the NFL is how they reacted to it. They handled cases, they quarantined, but the roster size, the roster changes really did help them to expand the practice squad. Teams had to play through some tough situations, whether it was Cleveland showing up with no wide receivers, Denver Broncos not having a quarterback. So they pushed through situations that we haven't seen other leagues push through. I think it does show kind of moving forward. While you might have a positive test, it doesn't mean that the whole team is going to be in a situation where you cannot play.
Yeah, I think to me, however they got here, and with all the criticism, and like I told you many times, I thought they should have put in a buffer week, and maybe it would have been more smooth, and that's fine. But it wasn't, and they didn't, and so it is. But here we are, and you've got a playoff schedule set that I think most people are looking forward to. I think for the most part, you enjoyed the season. I don't know. We'll certainly get into all that. But we got there, and it ends in a bizarre way yesterday. I mean, in a bizarre fashion last night with what we watched with Washington and the Eagles. And JJ, I sat there and I don't have a dog in the fight. And so because I didn't have a dog in the fight, and I love the Alex Smith story, and I just, with Ron Rivera did, I think for those who didn't have a dog in the fight, you're probably kind of pulling for Washington just because, okay, Alex Smith coming back, Ron Rivera fighting cancer, the whole story there. But maybe not. Maybe you flat out hate Washington because of Dan Snyder, whatever it happens to be. But what Doug Peterson did with the Eagles and how they played this whole quarterback situation. And if you're a Giant fan, you will never forget that. You will hate the Eagles your whole life, won't you?
You will. And Philadelphia has to play that game for themselves and not the New York Giants in that situation, which is why I was fine with, say, the 4th and goal call. because if they score, that ultimately benefits the New York Giants more than them kicking a field goal at that point in time. The thing I could just not wrap my head around was Nate Sudfeld in the fourth quarter. That made no sense. Now, we started seeing the stories pop up that Doug Peterson had already thrown that out there this week. He said, we want to maybe play Nate Sudfeld if the situation arises in the game. And then for Doug Peterson after the game to say Nate Sudfeld deserved an opportunity to play. He's practiced really hard. Like, this is the NFL. This isn't Rudy. You know who deserves an opportunity? Those other dudes that are out there trying to win a game as well. And Jalen Hurts wasn't having a great game by any stretch. He was 7 of 20, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns. And you felt, at least with Jalen Hurts, is he could give you one of those plays to get you back in the game, whether it was with his legs or a throw downfield. Nate Sudfeld brought 0 of that to that game.
Where was Nate Sudfeld and his earning of playing time or deserving of playing time the last few weeks? Where was it when everything wasn't on the line? I'm with you on the fourth down. I would have kicked a field goal. I would have. And ultimately, I'm not sure it would have mattered, but that would have tied the game up. Okay, but I get it. You're down there. It's a game. You got nothing to lose. You want to go for it? I'm fine. I'm down. And he goes for it on fourth down quite often. Okay. Nate Sudfeld earned, like, we're trying out our backup quarterback. Is this because the only thing I think of is the Carson Wentz, or maybe they're going to trade Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts' contract, and this is nobody ever talks about this, is going to be way easier to move and might even be more in demand. We can have this conversation later or tomorrow on who is more valuable on the trade market right now. Like what would the Eagles get more for, Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz? Because as ridiculous as this conversation might have sounded 7 weeks ago, I think it's a legitimate conversation now. But to go out there and tell me that you think that you're trying to win the game and he deserves a chance to play? So did John Wolford, but he only played because your boy Jared Goffel broke his thumb. I just say, look, I want to see what I got a backup quarterback. But he deserved a chance to play. There's no way you can convince anybody, including I think the guys on your team, that you got a better chance to win the game with, what's your boy's name, Sudfeld? Nathan? Is that his first name? Instead of Jalen Hurts. And by the way, you shook up the whole world and shook up your whole organization by putting Jalen Hurts in. You shook up your entire organization by doing this and making him your starter. And then you're going to the bullpen and bringing in a guy from single A Lancaster to close out the season with a playoff spot for someone else. The integrity of the league on the line. With all due respect, I went into that game, JJ, thinking, you know what? I'm listening to guys like Jaworski. I'm listening to guys tell me Doug Peterson deserves to be there. He's earned a down year. Yeah, it was a bad year, but I hear the guys are behind him. He's a leader of men. And then I watched that, and now I'm wavering on the whole Doug Peterson thing. Yeah,
it was fascinating seeing this play out on social media last night, because you immediately had the opinion of the tank is in, and they threw that game in the fourth quarter to go from the 9th pick in the draft up to the 6th pick in the draft. And then you started to run down the stories of there's turmoil in that organization. The stuff that they went through to bench Carson Wentz in the first place, and now to be in this situation where Doug Peterson, if he didn't have an assurance, like if there hadn't already been a conversation or say, hey, when we get together on Tuesday, you're still the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. If I'm sitting there as the owner of Philadelphia and I'm watching put Nate Sudfeld in the game, I'm firing him first time he lands back in Philadelphia.
Well, if there was an assurance and then he went and did that crap, like how important was that game to Philly? It wasn't. I sit here and think about the integrity of the league, and I look and see what teams like the Texans did with nothing on the line yesterday, but the integrity of the playoffs and what they went out and did yesterday, and they played their butts off and damn near beat the Tennessee Titans. And is it an obligation? I look what the Bills did with the Dolphins winning it in. Now, maybe they just want to play the Dolphins again next week instead of Indianapolis. I don't know. Or they didn't. I don't know where that is. But I look at teams that didn't have anything to play for necessarily and went out and played. And I almost like if you want to give him a couple series, okay. And then he threw that lame duck interception. Then he drops a snap. Like, okay, come back to my guy. It didn't work. He got his chance to play. He didn't play well. I'm going to go back to Jalen Hurts. And honestly, I kept having this feeling, JJ, that they were going to go back to Jalen Hurts, and he was going to pull this thing out of the fire, and it was going to be one of these crazy Philly moments. And because how did he not go back to Jalen Hurts? Did he destroy Jalen Hurts' confidence? Like, everything about it. I sat there and said, this is wrong. I'm not a head coach. But it made no sense. Okay, you went to your boy. Nate Sudfeld was bad. Like, not just not very good, he was bad. Jalen Hurts was not very good, but he scored 2 touchdowns. He throws a lame duck interception, drops a snap, doesn't move the team. All right, go back to Jalen Hurts and go try to win a football game.
It was unbelievable. And the only thing I could think of is people above Doug Peterson's pay grade were okay with them not winning that game and maybe even taking steps to ensure that they don't win that game or have a chance to win that game late.
And if that's the case, I mean, I guess you can't say we're out trying to lose a football game. Like an Eagle fan, are you down with that? Does that make you feel better? Like, Jet fan was pissed when they won because they're not getting Trevor Lawrence. Now they may get Justin Fields, and we'll have that conversation. By the way, tap the brakes on the Justin Fields thing just for a second. I will get there too. All right, so much to do today. 505-246-0610. 505-246-0610. We're guestless today just because there's so much that's happened between last time you all spoke and now, and certainly last time that I was here. But we got a full NFL Sunday to go through, the final Sunday, which leads to the playoff schedule. We've got the college football playoff. We got basketball. And when we come back, another coach, not Adam Gase, you already knew about Adam Gase, but another coach has been fired this morning. They call it Black Monday, the day after the NFL season ends every single year. Josh, is it your guy? Although the Chargers may have won yesterday, another coach has been fired in the NFL. Who that is, where, next. Good morning and Happy New Year. Glad to be back on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
I told you another coach has been fired in the National Football League, Doug Marrone. This is no surprise after, 5 years as the head of the Jacksonville Jaguars. ESPN reporting Adam Schefter, and he's never wrong. Doug Marrone fired. They were 1-15 this year. I think we went into the season thinking they were the worst team in the NFL, and that was the team that might go 0-16. They, in fact, went 0-15 after winning opening day, which is crazy. We stopped talking about them as the worst team because they won on opening day and they beat the Colts, and so it was all about the Jets, but they do have the number 1 pick. Trevor Lawrence, I believe, is in Jacksonville this morning with a real estate agent looking for beachfront property, and that's no surprise, right? We expect a few more today. Do you expect, the word yesterday was Anthony Lynn is going to get it in Los Angeles today. I don't know that I expect many others. JJ, do you? Your boy Vic Fangio. Boy, how does he fumble the clock around like he did yesterday?
So bad.
It's so bad. Like I mean, if idiots like any of us can sit on our couch and watch the time management at the end of a game, I mean, I'm not telling you he should be fired, but I'm not telling you he shouldn't.
No, I think with Vic Fangio, there's one more year with Fangio, Drew Lock, with what they've invested in that offense, and this is the ultimate prove-it year. Then everyone's job is on the line following this year because it's not a good team. But to your point, when you see things that doesn't matter if you're good or not. It's clock management. It's like at the very end. All right, the Raiders came back and scored in a wild fourth quarter game between two teams just playing the season out. Okay, but there's 9 seconds left, and you settle for a 63-yard field goal when you already had a 70-yard field goal attempt that was blocked. McManus was kicking everything into the line. It's like little things like that with 9 seconds left. Try to get 4 more yards, 5 more yards, get out of bounds, set your team up. And then you just start adding it to the list, which is long, of mistakes.
Back me up. I mean, they're going to score. They're banging on the door. Why not use some timeouts and give yourself, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 seconds to go instead of 23 seconds to go. And then you use your timeout, which of all of the mind-boggling stuff, and again, it's a meaningless game between two bad teams, but they're going to go for 2 to try to win the game, and they are absolutely disheveled. Derek Carr's screaming, bring in the play, bring in the play. They don't have personnel. Darren Waller, who caught the 2-point conversion eventually, wasn't even on the field. Like Oakland. Vegas was a mess, and Vic Fangio calls the timeout. I don't know. Of all the inexplicable things to me yesterday that coaches did, I think Doug Peterson, not even going to Nate Sudfeld, but not pulling him was number one. But Vic Fangio calling the timeout on the 2-point conversion to absolutely bail the Raiders out was number 2. Am I wrong on this?
No, it was up there. Was it on the 2-point conversion or after the 3rd and goal play?
It was the 2-point conversion, was it not? No, maybe you're right. It was on the 4th down play. Then you're right. It was the 4th down play.
So I was right there with you. I'm like, why are you calling a timeout? Like, you want the Raiders to be under pressure in a hurry at that situation. Like, I'm not buying, we wanted to set it up ourselves and be in position. Well, now you just gave it to the Raiders to do that same exact thing.
And they were lost.
The line, figure it out. And you called a timeout. They had none.
Yeah. And they were lost. They were flat out lost. It was one of those where, what are you doing? Look on the field. Derek Carr's begging for a play, begging for personnel. The play clock's running down. They're going to take a 5-yard penalty. And you hand it to them, and then they bring Waller on, and he scores. It was something. But Doug Marrone has been fired. I guess we're looking at Chicago, but they're not going to fire a coach that just got into the playoffs, at least not now. The Chargers are really the only other spot. Am I missing something? Should I be? I mean, they already fired coaches in Houston and Atlanta. Am I looking anywhere else that I should be concerned about a coach? I don't think they're going to make a change. I mean, they already fired a coach in Detroit. Minnesota might be the only other spot that you say is Zimmer on the hot seat, and do they screw around with Doug Peterson? And I'd be a little surprised with Mike McCarthy. By the way, the Cowboy game yesterday. First of all, a 3-year extension for Kellen Moore. He's not going to be the coach at Boise State. Is Kellen Moore the coach in waiting for the Dallas Cowboys? Is he the next head coach? Right. This feels like a Jason Garrett thing to you, doesn't it? Jerry's fallen in love with his guy. He's paid him a bunch of money. He's stuck around. He's the offensive coordinator for a coach who was brought in to be an offensive guy and told him, by the way, this is going to be your offensive coordinator. You don't get to pick. I'm picking your offensive coordinator for you. I mean, this is Jerry. It's everything Jerry does. But that's where that's going, right?
It does feel like Kellen Moore is going to be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, especially with the way Jerry Jones talked about Kellen last week and dropped on his awkward metaphors about him, but it was.
Did he use a mosquito this time?
No, he used buzzards. He said like buzzards waiting around, and sometimes you just have to go out there and kill it yourself. In regards to Kellen Moore jumping at the Boise State head coaching position, but ultimately what it did is it earned Kellen Moore a contract extension with the Dallas Cowboys, and it feels like he is Jerry Jones's guy moving forward, whether it's 3-4 years from now when he kind of get fed up with Mike McCarthy and the results on the football field, hand it over to Kellen Moore.
Yeah, that one's a little nuts to me. All right, 505-246-0610 is how to get in today. I know you got a lot to talk about, and we're here for you. That's 505-246-0610. Your emails will come in, jeff@610knml.com, jj@610knml.com. So let me, we'll break down games and go through what happened, but here's looking forward. Your lineup for the playoffs on Saturday, your early game, and all these games can be heard here on your home for the National Football League, 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. You'll start off the first game, Colts and Bills. That is the 7-2 game in the AFC, the Colts and the Bills. Followed by the middle game on Saturday, the Rams will go to Seattle. And then the Buccaneers at Washington in primetime on Saturday night. Sunday, the Ravens go to Tennessee to see the Titans, rematch of last year. Bears and Saints. How the Bears snuck in is a little bit boggling. And then the Browns and the Steelers will run it back, although you're going to see Ben Roethlisberger instead of Mason Rudolph. All of that here on The Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. The teams that were left out, the Dolphins in the AFC and the Cardinals in the NFC. You know, I heard, a good team's going to get left out in the AFC, and where you're going to have a really good team, and they're going to let a 7-9 team in the NFC. The second part of that is good. I'm not sure I'm sold that the Dolphins are a really good team. I think the Dolphins made progress. I think the Dolphins are a nice team. I'm not sure that I feel that there was some injustice that the Dolphins got in or didn't get in and somehow Washington didn't. And the Dolphins were nice. The Dolphins won some games. They made progress. I think, defensively, I think they were terrific. Brian Flores might be coach of the year. We'll see. But I don't feel that there was some horrible injustice and, oh my goodness, a really good team got left out and Washington's in. I'm just not, I'm not buying it.
Miami was embarrassed in a game, and Buffalo was just getting reps in. Yeah. They were like, let's just try to stay warm and see how long we'll need Josh Allen. And they were taken to the woodshed. Even Matt Barkley came into that game and threw a touchdown pass. It was a very bad day for the Miami Dolphins. And one of the players who's going to have the longest offseason is Tua Tagovailoa. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you like his future. All right, young guy came in there, was stable. But when you saw him being pulled multiple times for Ryan Fitzpatrick, it worked once in the Raiders game. It was a scenario that he's going to have to sit on that all offseason is, can he be the guy? Does he have that extra gear? Because while the dude in L.A. wearing that Chargers uniform didn't win, you watch him and go, wow. Like, I think this guy can be something pretty darn good in this league. You watch Tua, and you just see a game manager that hasn't made the big-time plays to win a game. And so it was a rough day for Tua, and one where you go, Ryan Fitzpatrick, where are you when you need him?
All right, so what's Fitz's contract status? Is he back next year? And is it good for him to be back? And the obvious answer is, well, sure it is, Jeff. Did you see him come in and see what okay, but is that good for the development of this quarterback? And if you're turning the reins over to Tua, is it good to have Ryan Fitzpatrick there? You need a backup quarterback. I think everybody in this league has realized that. John Wolford proved that yesterday, for crying out loud. You need a backup quarterback to get you into the playoffs sometimes. But is it good for him to be back? He's going to be back somewhere. And secondly, I wonder how much of it is the development. Is he fully recovered? Look, this is a quarterback who had zero training camp, right? And you can tell me Justin Herbert's the same way, and you're right. Herbert played earlier, played more. He played when they jabbed Tyrod Taylor in the lung with a needle to get their rookie quarterback in, and you never heard from Tyrod Taylor again. But here's a guy that was coming off a serious career-questioning, threatening hip injury. Had no offseason, no OTAs. Well, and they may get rid of OTAs, so that's fine. No training camp to speak of, and came in mid-season to a team that was winning. I just wonder how you completely evaluate him, or do you now give him a full offseason? We'll see how normal offseason is to get healthy, to train, and to become an NFL quarterback. Because I don't think we have an answer. You're right. Justin Herbert was better. The Dolphins were better. But I don't know that you've got the full answer yet. If you're going to ask me, Justin Herbert looks like a better NFL quarterback, period. But I don't know that we've got the full litmus on Tua yet.
Tua feels like he should be a really good fit for that team with what Brian Flores wants them to do. Have that identity of just a point guard at the quarterback position. Play really good defense. They've found some nice running backs throughout the season, which is what you can do in this league. The thing with Tua, I'm with you, it's an incomplete grade, but there's still, I think, a level of frustration is that you had to go to Ryan Fitzpatrick, which was just bizarre. Now, it seemed that they were at least all on the same page this year. You can't do that next year.
No.
If Brian Flores is in a situation where he doesn't trust Tua, he's like, hey, we need to make some plays downfield. Oh, so let's bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick. Then it's not going to work out.
Yeah, is he back next year? Like, do you want him back next year? I guess you do. He's the ideal backup, right? He knows his role. He comes in, he wins you games. Or does he go and back up Trevor Lawrence? Or does he back up Justin Fields? Because that one's bizarre. All right. 505-246-0610. We got to get into really kind of how the playoffs played out yesterday. And there wasn't a ton of drama. The drama came down in the NFC, and it would have been more for you all if the Cowboys would have beat the Giants. I mean, what this show would be like this morning if the Cowboys beat the Giants. And I heard someone say this yesterday, and I was thinking of it while we were watching the game. Would there be more outcry about what Doug Peterson did with his quarterbacks last night at a game that really mattered, although not to him, not to his team, if it was the Cowboys who were sitting in the waiting room, if it was the Cowboys who were the team that was ready to be in the playoffs as opposed to the Giants? Yeah, the Giants are in a big media market, but do you think it'd be different if it was the Cowboys? The outcry? Certainly in this region, right?
I think it takes a different turn because there's more people on the opposite side of the Dallas Cowboys as well. But when you look at the NFC East and how poor it was all season long, when it comes down to it, if you're an NFL team that ends up starting 4 quarterbacks this season, you're going to run out of luck. And that was the Dallas Cowboys coming up short because Graham Gano felt like a dude that was going to go out there and hit a 50-yard field goal, which ended up being the difference in that game.
Yeah. You almost expected Ben DiNucci to come in for the Eagles instead. I guess what's your guy's name last night? Sudfeld, Nate Sudfeld?
Nate Sudfeld.
He might as well be Ben DiNucci.
He deserved it.
He might as well be Ben DiNucci. 505-246-0610. That's how to get at us today. 505-246-0610. Your emails come in, and I got a bunch of them already. Jeff at 610knml.com or JJ at 610knml.com. We're going to get through the college football playoff. We're going to get through a little basketball as well. If Steph Curry did what he did last night on a Tuesday, it would be the talk of the show. At some point, we'll talk about it in the show, I hope. Coming up next, who's the MVP? Who's the hottest quarterback in the NFL? Is it the same guy? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Go out of your way because
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Pavi's. Pavi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provides some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wild catch! Not a defender inside. A little bit. Kowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown, Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24 Rancho. Late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's Krebs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Play fake to Lewis. Jones climbs the pocket, throws the post for Pettis, who makes the catch. Did he fall into the end zone for the touchdown? Yes! Dante Pettis on the post. And a strike from Daniel Jones.
You can put him on the board. Yes. Touchdown, Giants. That was Giants radio. The Giants beat the Cowboys, as you know, 23-19 yesterday to eliminate, finally, mercifully, or maybe not so. Cowboy fan, is it better to have lost that game? I know the answer is no, but maybe it is, because then you didn't have to sit through Sunday night and watch that bleep show with Doug Peterson and the Eagles. Like as bummed as you are as a Cowboy fan, and it's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Mike, J. Pole, and Josh on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal. As bummed as you are, you woke up yesterday and you had a chance, and it was a legitimate chance. You beat the Giants at home, and then somehow the Eagles beat Washington. You're in the playoffs. So you woke up with a chance. But as bummed as you are, wouldn't it have been way more miserable to have won that game and watch the Eagles do that to you last night?
Yep.
Right?
It was at least nice to see the Giants go down in flames.
I mean, that would have pissed
Division is going down in flames. Like, the only good thing you can say is, hey, Alex Smith didn't lose his leg and he's playing NFL quarterback. Other than that, it's been, the NFC East is terrible, and it is. It is. And there's the only reason the Cowboys had a chance, because everyone else has been just as bad. And by the way, last night, the Alex Smith story, you were wondering, are they going to go back to that third-string quarterback in Washington with what he was doing in the second half? I know they were harping on, Logan Thomas fell down. Even if Logan Thomas didn't fall down, that was still going to be an interception.
Yeah,
I pass.
Look. First of all, Alex Smith started the season as, I believe, the third-string quarterback. Is that not mistaken, right? So they got to the playoffs, theoretically, with a third-string quarterback. Now, a third-string quarterback who was, at some point, the first overall pick in the NFL draft. That's no Ben DiNucci third-string quarterback, but it is what it is. The division isn't blowing up. It's blown up. The division's horrible. But I do see progress, and I think Collinsworth said it last night. I like what Washington's done defensively. I think they're really good defensively, and that's what – they're not going to beat Tampa Bay, but that's what gives them a little bit of a chance because they're going to put pressure on Tommy coming up this weekend. I went into the break. I said to you, who's your MVP? And who's the hottest quarterback in the league? And is it the same guy? And I don't think it is, although it's arguable. Your MVP is a conversation between Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Josh Allen. And you can make a compelling case for any of them, right? Did I leave somebody out?
I think a dark horse candidate
is Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
2,000-yard season, fifth most rushing yards in NFL history.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. But you've got Patrick Mahomes as the 1 seed in the AFC. Aaron Rodgers is the 1 seed in the NFC. Josh Allen is the 2 seed in the AFC, and they were all terrific. And I like each one of those stories. I love the Josh Allen story. I mean, I've liked him since he was at Wyoming, since he was on our show. I think he's terrific, and I love how he's fought all of these labels, everything he can't do to become the player he is. I love the Aaron Rodgers story. And I told you, this is the one thing, I might not have been right on everything. Like, I thought the Lions were going to be a team this season. I thought the Raiders were going to make a run. But I did tell you Aaron Rodgers was going to be on a scorched earth tour this year, that he was sitting back there and watching them draft Jordan Love, that he was going to go on a rampage. I love those. But to me, the hottest quarterback right now might be Tommy going into the playoffs. Tommy had a day yesterday, and what he's doing now, if Mike Evans is not available to him, we got a conversation. But Tommy is a red-hot quarterback, and they just happen to draw the Washington football team in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, what Tom Brady did, Detroit, now Atlanta, it's – all right, if the schedule eases up, you got to make it easy. And that's what Baltimore was able to do down there in their stretch of the season, get back to, over the last 5 weeks, being the best rushing team in the NFL. And Tom Brady, that passing offense, getting a bunch of confidence. Now, all of a sudden, the Antonio Brown acquisition matters. It was a luxury earlier in the season, and unfortunately, I don't know what happened with Mike Evans. I wonder if it was like a hyperextended. At first, I thought it was like his kneecap, maybe, because of the way he came down. But then it was a hyperextension, which is just going to be very uncomfortable over the next week. So Antonio Brown becomes a huge acquisition for him. Now you have Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette. But yes, Tom Brady going in on a high note, because that's still how Tampa has to win. And it's at explosive plays. I love the matchup against Washington's front seven. You got Chase Young, all those first-round picks coming at you. But the question is, if you get a couple scores on the board, I don't know if that Washington offense is going to keep up. Right. But Tom Brady's got a ton of confidence, and it's nice to go into the postseason off the games that they had. And even, someone I'm right there is Josh Allen. To your point of his evolution as a quarterback, his completion percentage this year, how he's put in touch on different passes. And it was 2 weeks ago, in the New Mexico Bowl week, came in here on Monday, and I said, that dude is Patrick Mahomes light. Like, he's the one guy right now in the NFL, in the AFC playoff race, that I said, all right, if I need to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, I want Josh Allen right now. Because the Chiefs remind me of Alabama. And it's like, to beat them, you probably got to have like an SEC championship type of game. Like, you're not necessarily going to go out there, control the ball, run it, keep them off the scoreboard. You're going to have to go score to score with that squad. And it's what we saw the Raiders do when they beat them, putting up 40 points. Yeah. I think that's what it's going to have to happen in the playoffs.
It's a really good point, because the common thought is we got to control the ball and keep it away from Patrick Mahomes if they're susceptible. And I don't know that they are, because I think Kansas City's defense has gotten a lot better this year. I think that was last year's narrative, was their defense isn't very good. I think their defense is better. I don't think it's great, but I think it's better. I think your point is right. Your best chance might be go toe-to-toe with them. And let's see if our offense can do what your offense can do. Is Stephon Diggs as good as Tyreek Hill? Can my running backs do what your running backs do? Probably. Dalton Knox isn't Travis Kelce, but he's become pretty good. These three receivers, Gabriel and everything else that they put together there. I think I agree with that. And to your point on their one loss, that's how the Raiders did it to them. These teams who have tried to, there's been a few games. I mean, I think the Chargers did it to them, right? Where you get them in a one-score game in the 20s. That's cute. But you know what the bottom line is? You lost. And I think your point is absolute. If the Bills get there, and I think the Bills will get there. The Bills open up at home, and they're going to get the Colts. And the Colts defense isn't what it was early in the season. I think they get through them. If the Bills get to them, I think the Bills have a chance. Now, I'm going to still take Kansas City. Going into it, I just think they're the best team. My preseason pick for the Super Bowl was the Ravens and the Saints. It's hard to stick to that, but that's what I picked. I'll tell you what, the Ravens are playing pretty well right now. The Ravens have rediscovered a little bit of a defense. Lamar Jackson is a guy who has rediscovered some confidence. They've got some weapons back. They're running the football really well. Like JJ, that was a team 3 weeks ago that everybody looked at and said, I'm not really sure. They closed and won games when they had to, and they're going to Tennessee, who I've loved, and I've told you that. I've loved Tennessee, but I think Baltimore's going to win at Tennessee this week.
Now, that is the one game where you keep Baltimore off the field, you can win that way, which was what we saw Tennessee do to them last year. But this Tennessee team is more explosive because they're not as good defensively. I am really excited about this game because I'm expecting fireworks on both sides of this football. Ryan Tannehill, we all see it now. That dude is a playmaker. And you have Derrick Henry, who 200-yard games are like nothing for this guy, which is insane. And you saw it yesterday where Tennessee's in a different place. Like, they're going to play wild games. They're going to, in a Week 17 matchup with Houston, who has nothing to play for, like, who's left? Well, Deshaun Watson was going crazy. I expect Lamar Jackson to do that same thing. And then Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, who, by the way, now have a duo on the outside because Corey Davis has finally emerged and risen to that first-round status that Tennessee selected him as. That is probably my favorite game of the weekend is Tennessee and Baltimore.
All right. Can I tell you, I think Ryan Tannehill is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I think that there's probably 9 other guys in the league right now I would take above him. I mean, that's your Russell Wilsons and your Aaron Rodgers and your Patrick Mahomes and your Deshaun Watsons and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, maybe Dak Prescott. But, I mean, can we get over what he was in Miami, please, and understand that guy is a baller? All right, when we come back, will you tell me who your MVP is? Have you decided who you would vote for MVP in the NFL?
I will.
I think I know
who you're voting for.
Yeah, I think I know, and I told you there's 3 guys that I would put at the top, and I'll listen to compelling arguments on all 3 of them, and I don't know that I think there's a wrong answer, but I will tell you who I think it is when we come back. I want to hear from you. I got a bunch of emails already. Gosh, it's good to be back. It's I missed you guys, man. I know you probably don't miss me. It's
we miss you. Now we're full. We are one again.
Oh, it's good to be back on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass. Just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Time district. Inside, fly, Eagles!
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer! Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Couldn't have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer! Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10!
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we can see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos was handling.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Devils is all over the place. Heck about the lob to Agbaiosi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
Could be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos put.
You know, they stick together. You know, they help one another, communicate, they work hard. They want to be great each and every day. You know, they grind and make sure everybody's on the same page, and I'm very thankful for those guys.
Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans, after eclipsing 2,000 rushing yards on the season. He was over 200 yards yesterday. 250, in fact, and 2 touchdowns in the Titans' victory to give them the AFC South championship and propel them into a home game in the playoffs where they will play the Ravens on Sunday of next week. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, and Micah. Josh and J-Pole on the ProView side. So, JJ, is he your MVP? I mean, you called him a dark horse. Who do you have? Who's your MVP if you had a vote?
I would give Aaron Rodgers the MVP trophy for this season. Derrick Henry is like Najee Harris. They're both Alabama running backs that are both going to be behind quarterbacks when it comes to the voting. In this case, Devontae Smith I think is probably going to win the Heisman Trophy, but it's a guy that is good enough, deserves to be there. I think he's going to be outdone by Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes might get a couple votes. Josh Allen. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers is my guy this season.
So I like the analogy on Derrick Henry, and I think in a year where you didn't have 3 quarterbacks having the season that they had, Derrick Henry could win. I think if Derrick Henry was on a team that was, I'm trying to find a team that got into the playoffs. Let's say he was on Chicago and had that season and got the Bears in the playoffs. I think you'd have more of an argument. Because even though in a year like this, I don't think he would win, where they were totally reliant on him. Where in Tennessee, I think they've got an incredibly competent and I think very good quarterback, which again takes nothing away from Derrick Henry. JJ, I'm with you, and my thought is Patrick Mahomes is somewhat getting the LeBron treatment on this, where you could give it to him every year. And there's no reason he shouldn't be the MVP. Like there's none. I'm down to Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, and I love the Josh Allen story. I think he is evolved into a borderline elite quarterback. I think he's got to have another year like this to be considered elite. But he's a top shelf guy. But what Aaron Rodgers did this year to get them to a 1 seed. With everything that happened in the offseason, and I know that shouldn't matter, and maybe it doesn't even matter, but the numbers that he put up, the command in which he did it, and the weapons with which he had. He's got Devontae Adams, who he didn't have all season. He lost. He kind of created Alan Lazard, and then he lost Alan Lazard. Marquez Valdes-Scantling gets loose, but he drops 2 or 3 balls a game. He did it with running backs that were injured all season long, and I'm with you on the Aaron Rodgers thing. That's why I would go there. I'm really tempted to go with Josh Allen, but I just think Rodgers was overall body of work better than Josh Allen was, and that's again when you say a guy's second or third, that's not a knock on him. But when you got to pick some of that, that's where I would go to.
51 total touchdowns, 48 passing, 3 rushing, 5 interceptions, completing 70% of
How many interceptions?
5. He threw 5 interceptions.
To 50,
which is just insane.
48 touchdown passes?
48 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. The ratio is just crazy because you can like mistake your way into like 7 or 8, it feels like, in this league, with players dropping passes, it bouncing off someone weirdly. Nope, not the case with Aaron Rodgers. And to your point, yeah, Devontae Adams is awesome, but like that shows me how great you are when there's one thing you have to stop on this Packers offense. And it's like, all right, let's try to take away Devontae Adams. And you can't. You can't, because Aaron Rodgers is good and Devontae Adams is that good as well. MVP this year.
Yeah, I hate penalizing a guy, and it feels like you are with Mahomes for having Kelsey and Hill and all these unbelievable weapons. And I almost feel like, there's a little bit of the LeBron treatment where you could give him the MVP every year. And I won't argue. If Patrick Mahomes wins the MVP, I can't argue. If Josh Allen wins it, I can't argue it. But I'm with you on Rodgers. All right, breaking news. Is that, Josh, is that what you were just trying to show me? What we told them about coming back out of that quarter-hour break, Doug Marrone was fired as the Jacksonville Jaguars. No, I appreciate you being here, though. He's all proud. He's like, look, I broke this. Here, look at my phone. I broke. Yeah, but Doug Marrone has been fired as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought he was showing me Anthony Lynn or something. I'm like, did I miss something? But I know I appreciate the content, keeping us up on it and producing the show. Doug Marrone has been the second coach fired on Black Monday. Do you count that as the fifth with what's happened? You got it, right? Detroit and Atlanta, and who else is working on an interim coach? Houston, right? So there's 5 openings, JJ? Jets, Jaguars, Lions, Falcons, Texans. What's the best job? Texans?
Right now, I think it's Houston because you get to start with Deshaun Watson.
Right.
And if in this situation, I'll take the best quarterback available and try to figure it out.
Yeah, he's the best quarterback available. The Falcons, the Jaguars are going to get Trevor Lawrence. We're going to have this conversation. I'll start it a little bit now. Is Justin Fields an automatic number 2 to the Jets? Did he earn that? Did he solidify that with his performance on New Year's Day against Clemson in the Sugar Bowl? JJ, I'm going to tell you to tap the brakes. And while Justin Fields was terrific, and I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, can I wait and see what he does against Alabama? I'm going to tell you, I think Clemson's defense, while maybe isn't terrible, is not championship quality. Like I watched Ian Book rip them apart. I've watched Boston College put up a bunch of points on Clemson. Please, he threw the deep ball. I'm not ripping the kid by any means. I'm just not telling you that if I'm a GM, I'm basing everything on that performance. I'm glad I get to see one more.
You're correct. You can't, because it's now Justin Fields versus Sam Darnold. That is a comparison. And in NFL circles, that dude at BYU, Zach Wilson, is rising really fast, going at that number 2 quarterback spot.
And I think I like Sam Darnold better than both those, and I'm going to go address some other needs because, well, I'm the Jets, and I've got needs everywhere I look. 505-246-0610. Want to hear from you. We still got to get into the college football stuff. Lobo basketball when we come back. Lobos are 0-4 for the first time ever in Mountain West play. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Micah's producing at Radio Ranch. Jay Pole and Josh on the TV side at ProView. Glad you're with us at 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the 3, and he buries it.
Coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the 2-hand hammer.
Minutes to go, they've got a shot, they have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good! What a 3 that is by Jalen.
Puts it up. inbound Cowboys. Right side, David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Siembieda Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
1 second left on the clock for the Lobos, down 10 as they inbound. Shot clock violation for the Wolfpack. McGee will launch a long three as the game clock expires. Final score, Nevada 84, New Mexico 74 at Lubbock Christian University in Texas.
Robert Portnoy on the Lobo Radio Network. Lobos are 0-4 after dropping a pair at home in Lubbock to Nevada and Steve Alford and Craig Neal. You see Cullen on the bench? Cullen Neal. 0-4 with a lot of people just really, I don't know that you feel any better after the 10-point loss that you do after the 14-point loss the other day, where they missed, 16 free throws on what day is what? Friday, so
20
free throws. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J-Pole, and Josh. Look, I don't want to discount what's going on. I think it would be irresponsible to discount what's happening with their lack of preparation time, their lack of gym time, their lack of shooting time, the fact that they are new. All of those things are real. I think where Lobo fan is getting frustrated is saying, look, everybody's going through adversity. New Mexico State's going through adversity. They lost a game at Cal State Northridge. Everybody's going through adversity, but I want to see my team get better. Do you feel your team got better on Saturday night as opposed to what you saw 2 nights previous? And do you think that the reason they're 0-4 and have lost every game in conference play thus far by double digits, do you attribute it to it's a new team? They don't have time. They're behind everybody, which is true. They are behind everybody. Because I've heard everything from, damn it, I'm hearing the same thing every year. It's a new team every year. Why is it a new team every year? To, well, you should be able to make shots. To, how the hell do you miss 20 free throws in an NCAA basketball game?
The Lobos took a step forward versus a comparable opponent in the last 2 games. A better is still not good enough. And that is where the Lobo men's basketball team is that they did some things on Saturday night that I didn't really think they could do. And it was get back in a game, answer runs with a run of their own. I know so much has been talked about that 14-0 run the Lobos went on, but ultimately what you saw in that series is a team in Nevada that has 2 playmakers, guys that can make shots and create, and then their role players stepped up. The thing for this Lobo basketball team is they just don't have the shooting. And I don't see that coming on this roster. And it's not necessarily just a practice thing. It's can you shoot or not? And there's a lot of guys that it's or not right now for Lobo basketball. I will say, as bad as it's been, I like the way the players are responding. Like you had Javonte Johnson after the Boise State game, a true freshman step up. He was one of the guys, that was available, came on the Zoom, and he presented himself really well. You had Keith McGee stepping up Saturday night, saying, you guys might not see it because of the scoreboard, but we got better. And those are the things that really do matter because it's rough. And it could be really easy for a lot of these guys to cash out, especially Keith McGee, because he was frustrated after Thursday's game, went to Twitter and said, how can I only get 1 shot if I'm supposed to be a shooter? Had to then apologize to the team for that, came out and was a decent player for them on Saturday. So as of right now, it's good to see the players' character, like they're still in, they're grinding, but at some point you have to see a result.
Well,
like you need that because there's only so much hoorah attitude effort that you can have before it just starts crumbling.
So there's a couple things here. where are they getting scoring from? Do they have a score? And I know I'm going to hear, oh yeah, wait till this guy gets in rhythm and this guy gets in rhythm. Oh, okay, and it feels to me like every Lobo player who's come through here in the last 25 years that I've seen, that just wait till he gets in rhythm. This guy's going to be real good, from Joel Box to whoever. I don't even know why that name popped into my head, right? But I sat around and I watched Colorado State come back from 33-7 and beat San Diego State the other night. I watched San Jose State, who got run out of their gym by 50. And not even their gym, their rec center that they're borrowing in Arizona. They're going through a lot of the same stuff now. San Jose State came back and had a shot at the end. And Richard Washington is terrific, by the way. Had a shot to beat Boise State. You're watching, just so many teams. Wyoming's getting better. And this is the frustration on the Lobos. You're saying, where is it? And show me the guy who I'm supposed to get behind. That's, it was going to be Rod Brown. It was going to be Saquon Singleton. Where is it? And I think that's where Lobo fans really struggling right now is just show me that glimpse. Show me something. I'm dying to buy in. Give me something to feel good about.
And what did stand out to me these last two games is this Lobo team, everything offensively is going to be a grind. But I think what they need to do moving forward is make it a half-court game. I don't think they can maybe press, maybe not press, get sped up, get beat on the back end. I mean, with just the way they're constructed, like everything has to be half-court sets, grind it out, make it tough, make it really hard on your opponent. If they get into a transition game, if they want to try to speed someone up, I just don't think they have the players, the scorers that can play a game like that. And I think you started to see some of that against Nevada is when they got into the half-court sets, they were really working, they were competitive.
And make your free throws, please. Make your free throws. Rudy, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. What's up, Rudy?
Well, it's a new year, and, anybody who wants to be disgruntled, I'd just like to point this out. The only way you get better playing basketball is to play the game. How many 5-on-5s did UNM get all summer?
I don't know.
Since March of last year, they were not allowed to go 5-on-5.
Yeah, there was a
right?
small window. There was a small window late summer, early fall that they were. But yes, you're right.
Everybody else. But every other team. So when you talk about adversity, Nevada didn't have to shut down and not play 5-on-5. Nevada got to play full court practices, 5-on-5, and you can see the difference. So
how long does it go? I mean, because you're right, they're behind. So it's just they get a pass on the whole season. You got to see some progress, don't you?
Everything is up in the air. Now, let's think about Lobo basketball. First of all the coaches are different, basically. They cleaned house on those, right? Jerome Robinson's gone. Brandon Mason's gone. They cleaned house on the team, right, and brought in guys that want to buy in. So give them a break and give them a chance. And no other team has had to go through this. No other team. No other team has had to go rooting around looking for a place to live and a place to practice. No other team went 3 months without 5-on-5 full-court scrimmages.
Yeah,
no
them
other
in New Mexico State. Just them in New Mexico State.
Yeah, and that's just wrong. And so, if you want to blame anybody, blame the governor. You want to blame somebody, you want to reach out, you want to be angry, blame the governor for a ridiculous health order that basically makes these guys not play basketball. The only way you get better, especially when you're a young guy, and you look at the young guys on this team, the only way you get better is running up and down the court 5-on-5, playing full-court basketball, and then working on those things that you're not good at. You can see the difference from game to game. And I'm fine with what's going on in terms of that's all we've got right now. I can't ask somebody to win a game with one hand tied behind their back.
Did you feel the same way with football? As they got better?
I felt exactly the same way, and look how long it took football to get there.
Yeah, it took them to the
by
end of the
season. Okay,
yeah.
they were there, and I'm going to say it again, and I say it every year, and everybody always laughs, and it's true. The toughest out at the Mountain West tournament is New Mexico. You don't want to play us by the time March rolls around.
Sometimes.
He took a team of nobodies and made it to the finals and was 3 minutes away from beating San Diego State his first year. So when people say Paul Weir can't coach, I just laugh. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. You can be the best coach in the world, but you got to have some things to work with, and you have to have some things in your advantage. And the one big advantage for New Mexico over all the years was what, Jeff?
It was the pit. It was the pit, and they're playing in a gym in Lubbock. And I think, look, it can't be discounted. And the practice time, and I'm just trying to look through the fog here and see what the reality is. And
well, look who we end up playing. We end up playing two of the best teams in the conference too. Now it's going to be this conference has gotten better. Colorado
State's better. Yep. Wyoming got better.
So it's going to be a dogfight every game, and it's going to be just if you don't have the stomach for it, then you don't have the stomach for it, and I get that. But I watched both of the games, and New Mexico had no shot the first game. The second game, they didn't.
They were up in the second half.
They were up, and not only that, but at the end of the game, they let shooters get loose, and you can't do that. And that's just the way it goes. So
right.
I like what's going on. And to shift gears a little bit, did you ever think that the NFL would be so crazy? Hey, look, if you guys don't like the fact that Washington Redskins made it into the playoffs, then change and start power matching teams and rank them and change your playoffs and quit playing in this silly conference setup. But it's not going to happen. And you're going to have 7 and 9 teams sneak in the playoffs here and there, now and then. But I think Derrick Henry is the MVP. I mean, 2,000 yards rushing. I think he's the first player in NFL history to rush for over 200 yards in 5 games in a season.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue.
That guy.
I think
he's
it's
unbelievable because you think you have him, and all of a sudden he breaks out. And I did not realize he had the speed that he has. That guy is fast.
And he's a beast. All right, man. We'll talk to you during the week, Rudy. Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. JJ, his point is you got to be patient with this team. Nobody's dealing. And this is where it is. I'm really trying to look through the fog on this. Lobo fan is so upset. My phone blows up every time there's a game. This is the worst I've ever seen. I'm disgusted. He's ruined it. And what Rudy says is also true. They're behind everybody. At what point? I'm really trying to find the reality of it, and I'm not sure I'm there yet. I don't know what I believe yet.
It's a little bit of everything in this scenario. The fact that they don't get to do as much as they would in a normal season hurts a roster like this. The way both Boise State games played out, you're not going to get that out of your mind. Like, that's going to hang around for Lobo fans all season long. And then, especially as you pointed out, you see a San Jose State team respawn in game 2, unlike New Mexico was able to do. And this San Jose State team is living in Arizona. Like, they're doing the same thing at this point in time in their basketball season. The one thing, I think, whether we're talking practice time availability, that's going to be really hard to shake is missing 30 free throws in 2 games.
Yeah.
Like there's a sponsorship opportunity. Someone send this team a basketball hoop they can put up in the parking lot.
Right. Or in a ballroom somewhere.
Shoot some free throws.
I don't know if there is a ballroom at the where they stay at the Residence Inn or something like that. I don't know if there is a ballroom, but yeah, find me a room that I could give me 15 feet and a tall enough ceiling to shoot and send me a rim. 505-246-0610. Keep them coming. I'll get you a bunch of emails that you're in on it as well. I want to get through the college football playoff as well. Ohio State, do you believe that they've got a shot, ... to keep it within 7 against Alabama? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, twine.
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this, they're gonna go score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak. Ahead of the pack, Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
And he's looked at me and I said, "How you doing? You going to be able to make it?" He said, "I don't have a choice. I have to." And at that point, we had to kind of figure out what he couldn't do for a little while, and we kind of figured that part of it out. He couldn't do everything, but what a gutsy performance! What a tough and special young man Justin Fields is.
It's Ryan Day, Ohio State's head coach, after the Buckeyes' 49-28 win over Clemson in the All-State Sugar Bowl. They advanced to the college football playoff championship game. They'll play Alabama coming up a week from Monday. Opening drive, Jeff, JJ, and Micah, you just sent me a little bit of a surprise. Doc Holliday is out at Marshall. Doc was on our show when they were, ranked 16th in the country and started out 6-7-0 after the 50th anniversary game of the plane crash at Marshall. Won the New Mexico Bowl 4 years ago. He was the Conference USA Coach of the Year, but they did lose their last 3 games. And Mike Hamrick, the athletic director at Marshall, opted to not extend Doc. That one borderline stuns me. I think he's done an insanely good job there. Embrace that place. He's a West Virginia guy. I know we went to West Virginia, not to Marshall. But he felt like he would be there as long as he would want to be there. Didn't that feel like that to you?
This doesn't make a lot of sense. You lost the last 3 games with a freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
You just got to the Conference USA title game with a freshman quarterback. I'm not sure what else was going on. You always have to wonder behind the scenes. And when it gets above the head coach, was there someone that wasn't on board with him? Was there someone saying, hey, I want to go in a different direction? Because to your point, it felt like Doc and Marshall just really worked.
I think Marshall fan, the social media stuff, they got to that point, right? Here we are. We should be contending for a New Year's Six bowl. Look where we are. We're 6-0. We're 7-0, and they lost their last three with, to your point, a freshman quarterback. And it was that whole Rocky Long thing. Oh, this is as far as he could take us. We can't go any further. You're Marshall. Like with all due respect, you just had a hell of a year. What do you mean he can't take you any further? And so there was a lot of that, and I think you just be careful for what you wish, man. Be careful for what you wish. And I said this, and you remember, I think you do. Maybe, whoever was on the show, because that was a long time ago now, in 2008, in December of 2008, when Rocky Long left, and I said, just be careful. Where you're going to miss this guy. And it feels to me like Marshall's going to miss that guy because he did a hell of a job. He recruited his backside off. He coached. He got the most out of those players. He motivated. And what's as much important at that particular place is he embraced Marshall. And I've told you so many times that's just a different, special kind of because of the plane crash. He embraced that, and for me, he embodied that. And that just feels like one. I think, I don't know who they think they're going to get in there.
It's when you're looking at these Group of 5 teams, you're looking for stability and consistency, and then you start judging. Hey, are we hitting our ceiling, or is there another level or two for us to get to? And it felt like that Marshall was stable. They were consistent, and this year you saw, okay, there's a ceiling that they could hit. There is definitely something there. Grant Wells played a terrible game against Rice, which I think probably is weighing on everyone's mind. He threw 5 interceptions. I think they were 17, 18-point favorites in that game.
And they got shut out, didn't they?
Yeah, he ended up losing that game 22-0. And then you saw them lose the next two, which included in the Conference USA Championship game. Really rough ending to the season. But how could you not ultimately be excited going, all right, well, we do have a freshman quarterback that showed a lot of promise at the start of the season. A dude, to all those points you laid out, is bought in, feels like he meshes so well with that culture. Now you're moving on.
So the decision for Mike Hamrick, and this is where it really came down to, do you extend him or not? His contract was up. Do you extend his contract? And they opted to not. All right, 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J. Paul, and Josh. So Alabama wins. They beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame covered. By the way, I think Notre Dame was the only ACC bowl team to cover in bowl season.
It felt like such a win for Notre Dame that Alabama only scored 31 points.
Yeah.
Like, wow, good job.
By the way, Najee Harris hurdling a dude and then running down the sidelines was the best thing I saw all bowl season. Next to Calvin Turner's kickoff return to the New Mexico Bowl. It was really, really good. But the story, because that's not the story, right? I mean, everybody expected Notre Dame to win and cruise. And I mean, like the story would have been if it didn't happen. The story is Ohio State. The story is 49-28, not just winning, but avenging last year's loss and jamming it down Dabo Swinney, who has kind of gone from being the likable, goofy guy who created Clemson to college football's village idiot in some respects, who wins. Now, please don't take anything away from his success. He's created the second best program in America. Make no doubt, they are the second best program in America over the last decade. Alabama is number one. Clemson is the second best program in America. They're better than USC. They're better than Ohio State. They're better than Auburn, Georgia, whoever else you want to throw at me. Clemson contends for national championships, okay? So all that is real. But his whole thing with Ohio State wouldn't to just throw that motivation. I don't know that Ohio State needed that motivation. I think getting beat last year by Clemson in a game they felt they should have won was enough motivation, and having that score up in their weight room all year was enough motivation. But why would you throw that at them? I would have voted them number 1 if I knew I was going to play them, instead of saying they were number 11. Oh, they're the best damn team. They're better than Alabama. We just haven't seen enough of them. I'd have gone the other way. I don't know if you want to give him the MVP trophy, but damn, Ohio State looked good and they looked motivated. And Troy Sermon was terrific running the football, 193 yards on 31 carries. And Justin Fields looked like an NFL quarterback. And again, I'm going to tell you, and I told you this earlier, tap the brakes on him as the number 2 pick to the Jets. Let me see what he does. Now, if we sit here a week from tomorrow and he does that to Alabama, I'm sold, okay? But I need a little bit more than just that one game against what I think is a marginal defense.
And you saw the difference for Justin Fields when he got his number 1 receiver back. Yeah. Who was not there for the Big Ten championship game against Northwestern. Justin Fields was the best quarterback on that field.
That day.
And that was what was so impressive. He was handing out crow left and right. And he also did it with half his body. Probably couldn't feel his ribs. Like for a little bit after he got a little bit of an injection. And then he's like, oh my goodness, I feel these like crazy. Because he got split in half early in that contest. Stood in there, kept fighting. You didn't necessarily see the athleticism out of him. It was just, I'm in this pocket and this football is going downfield.
And they knew that he had to throw it. By the way, what did you think of the targeting call? Because I hated it. Hated the targeting call.
I didn't like it because it was a body shot, but I guess they were going crown of the helmet regardless in that situation.
You've heard me say this since the day they instituted that rule. Where's the head supposed to go? The head's going to hit something. You can put your head where you think on the side, and the guy moves because you're going at full speed, and these are world-class athletes, and the head hits something. Like with all due respect, and I understand the interpretation of that rule was literal. I hate it. And that young man, I didn't think that was a dirty play. I think he came in. Your head's got to go somewhere. I mean, I want you to get down in a tackling position and keep your head up, your neck up. Like your head naturally is going in a downward position. I hated that call. Again, I don't have a dog in that fight, and I'm kind of glad Ohio State won because I hated all the talking Clemson did, but I hated that call. And to your point, it kind of made for the legend of Justin Fields. Right? I mean, it upped the legend. It created the legend that is going to be Justin Fields, but I hated the call.
Yeah, it turned him into Drew Brees for the rest of that game. I'm wondering, all right, how many ribs did I just break in that one instance? But Justin Fields was fantastic, and I was all in on Clemson, and Ohio State proved the majority of college football wrong with the way they played on both sides of the football. It started with Justin Fields, but then defensively making it such a tough day on Trevor Lawrence and Clemson all day long. And I am with you. I want to root for Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne and Amari Rodgers. Like, those dudes are good. I'm so sick of Dabo's game. Like, I'm so tired of it because he talks in circles all year long. All right, you want to throw that stuff out there and rank them 11th, fine, whatever. It might have given them a little bit more focus during the week, but you still got to go out there and play that game. And that's what I loved about it, is he had to answer for it on the football field. And if you're going to throw stuff like that out, Dabo, well, then you're going to have to continue yourself to answer those questions of the situation you just put your team in. And, we started the year off going, I don't know how we can rank things. We got to take it week by week. Who knows how many games you're going to play? We started with that buffer.
Right.
Maybe we won't play a lot. Once all of a sudden he got 10, 11 games in, he was that dude saying, well, if you didn't play 9 or more, you don't deserve to be here. Like, his act was tired. He's a good coach, to your point, but he became the dude you're just like, shut up, Dabo. I don't want to hear it anymore. And it was nice to see Ryan Day and Ohio State step up in that situation. I
love Justin Fields' comment after the game, which was basically no comment when asked about it. He's, I got nothing to say about that. I love that. There's an old cliche in life that says, every once in a while we all need to get our ass kicked. You know what I mean? And we do. Every once in a while, getting your butt kicked is a good thing. And you don't know it in the moment. You don't realize it in the moment. But Dabo needed to get his butt kicked. He needed to get pounded. And they didn't just get beat. They got outclassed. They got pounded. They got beat by a guy with broken ribs who you knew was going to sit in the pocket and throw. They got beat defensively. Their defensive front of Ohio State got to Trevor Lawrence, and that's as uncomfortable as Trevor Lawrence has looked that I've ever seen him as a college quarterback, ever as a college quarterback. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Ohio State kicked their butt. Now, can Ohio State do that to Alabama? It may be a different story. But they got their comeuppance. 505-246-0610. We'll go to the phones when we get back. You know you need it, but you don't want to pay for it. It's security for your home or your business. It's like insurance. You need it, but should I pay for it? Then a bad guy breaks in and you realize you should have been prepared. Don't wait until it's too late. Aaron Jones owns International Protective Service. It's IPS. Last year was a nightmare. This year's not going to be any better unless you take action. Let IPS protect your home. Let IPS protect your business. They provide on-site guards, 24-hour patrols. They stop crime before it happens. I've trusted IPS for years to watch my home. Peace of mind, just to see the patrolmen come by on a daily basis. They're here every day. They come by my house every day, sometimes more than once a day. If I go out of town, like I did last week or 2 weeks ago for the Bulls, they are here multiple times. They do exterior checks. They pick up the mail or the newspaper if you have that. They'll roll the garbage cans to the curb and back on garbage day. Your home has that lived-in look. IPS protects what's important to you. You need peace of mind, and they provide it. Call IPS. Talk to them about what they can do for you. There's no contracts. IPS's number is 505-897-2420. That's 505-897-2420. Or you can visit them at ipsglobal.com.
Clark's Pet Emporium is committed to your safety with curbside pickup and free.
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Portell.
Davis in a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to toss it. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he
touchdown.
could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win in his back, but
shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalon's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalon wants to put it down. Here comes Las Cruces. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transitions, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Bills will get you started on these sports animals Saturday morning, followed by the Rams and the Seahawks. Buccaneers and the Washington football team round out your Saturday. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, these sports animals. Go to it, 505-246-0610. Lenny, thanks for holding. Good morning, sir. Been a while. How you living?
Morning. I hope you guys had a good holiday and you had a good break.
Yep, you as well. Hope you had a good holiday. What's happening?
Well, I'm going to do a couple of things. First, the best head coaching job to me is going to be Jacksonville. You have 11 picks coming up in this year's draft. 10 plus Lawrence, and you got $100 million in cap space.
If you get the right guy in there, you might be able to attract some free agents. You're going to get Trevor Lawrence as your franchise quarterback.
And you're rebuilding right off the gate with enough draft picks and cap space to build it the way you want it.
And I think you've got enough there. Like, I think you've got receivers. I think Chark and Cole and some of those guys. Like, I think you've got receivers. You may have found a running back in Robinson. Now you can really just go and build on defense and on your lines.
Yeah, and I'm not putting down Deshaun Watson or anything, but you got an older J.J. Watt. Deshaun is still good, but I think Jacksonville is where you want to go if you get the right coach, like you said. Second, the Jets. Congratulations on losing out on Lawrence. So now they're not going to draft a quarterback this draft. I honestly think they're going to go with an offensive lineman to bookend with Becton and give Donald another run and bring a veteran quarterback in, and they got $75 million in cap space.
I think that's the right move, to be honest with you. I think they've got a quarterback. If you're going to ask me, Justin Fields. What's JJ, the guy from BYU? Why am I forgetting his name? Wilson or Darnold. I think I'm going Darnold.
Yeah, I do. And also the thing is, if you look at the Jets' receiving core, it wasn't good. Robbie Anderson had a 1,000-yard season in Carolina.
No.
So
they've got Crowder and they've got Perriman, and they're pretty nondescript receivers. I don't think they got weapons. I don't know who's running the football long term for them. I think they've got so many.
And they don't have a tight end either. They don't have anything on the offense. So they're going to draft. They should spend all of their money as much as they can on offense. Bring in the receiver, bring in a running back, and bring in a veteran to push Darnold, and build the line and give him protection.
Okay. I'm down.
So now we get into the MVP. And you get into the situation with Mahomes. As great as he is, it's the LeBron James effect. And yes, you could say he had the number one wide receiver and tight end in receiving, but you got to give Aaron Rodgers credit. The first quarterback to throw for 40 TDs in 3 seasons. And he did it with makeshift people coming in. Did you know about Tanyan at the beginning of the season?
No idea who he was. None.
Okay. Or Scalding, to an extent?
I knew who he was because he was around last year, but he was kind of a bit receiver, like Lazard was.
But compared to the speed and everything else that Kansas City has,
Mahomes.
Rodgers did an incredible job with what he had to deal with the injuries.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
And didn't miss a beat.
Yep.
So we'll see going with that. And lastly, you should be happy with this. I'll make an early prediction that the Padres go to the World Series.
Well, that makes me happy, but they're making moves, man. They are making
moves, and the thing that you have to watch out with is the Korean second baseman they brought in.
I know nothing about him.
They just signed him. He's the number one player from Korea that they just signed for 4 years, $28 million on the same day that they did the trade for Yu Darvish.
All right, I'll watch that. They must have been watching a lot of overnight baseball in the middle of the night, watching a lot of Korean baseball league.
All right, they're showing up. But
No,
I mean,
good.
you got to give them credit because you pick up Darvish and you pick up Snell and you're the New York Yankees. How do you let them both go to the Padres?
To the Padres. Padres are decided they're going to be players. Padres have decided they want to make a run. All right, man. It's good to hear you. Let's we'll talk during the week. JJ, I saw your face when you heard about the Korean second baseman. You didn't know about him either?
I didn't. That was a new pickup to me. Padres, they have. How do you let them go? They had better talent to give up than New York Yankees in these trades. You know, they gave up some of their top prospects, like top 5 players in their organization to make these trades. And we've invested in Manny Machado. You've hit a home run in Fernando Tatis. You have 2 studs in your lineup. Absolutely go all in, because Mike Clevenger, the dude that they traded for at the end of last season, Tommy John surgery. So he's like, well, we got to figure something else out. Let's go get Blake Snell, who was pitching an absolute gem in the World Series until Kevin Cash took him out. He was trending in the right direction after one rough season 2 years ago. Oh, and then Yu Darvish on top of that, who's still a very good pitcher at 34 years old. I love these moves. I think it also does get the Dodgers to stay focused in, knowing that there is now a team in the division that can run them down and nip at their heels. And then if I'm everyone else in the NL West, like Arizona and San Francisco and Colorado, I'm asking, can we just play each other and let those 2 teams play 82 times? Because I don't want any of that smoke right now.
I wondered why this hasn't happened earlier. I mean, what free agent doesn't want to go to San Diego if they're going to spend money and say, hey, we're going to win. Oh, I get to live in San Diego, play in that ballpark. I mean, what don't I want to do about that? Art, good morning. Thanks for holding. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Art.
Hello, Jeff. Happy
Been
New
a
Year.
while. Happy New Year.
Listen, I just want to talk a little about that. I'm going to call it the experiment. This weekend, I know they played I know they played Nevada. I know Nevada's good, but I watched Nevada play another Mountain West school, and I didn't think Nevada was as strong as Boise State, but
they're not.
This is my personal thought. I believe that the coach he went from one extreme to the other. He didn't go halfway, and truly, to be honest with you, these guys, they won't win. They could possibly not win another Mountain West Conference game the rest of the year because this team is not together. I don't know. There's a reason why. I understand the kid from North Carolina. He's coming back from a bad knee injury, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. But some of these other players, you got the kid from Wichita State. I mean, there's a reason why they came to New Mexico. There's a reason why they didn't stay at Wichita State, in spite of the coach at Wichita State. But you then better think about what they're doing with Paul Weir, because you can't go from one extreme to the other and think it's going to work and bring a whole new team. It's going to take you a season or two to get these guys to even mesh a little bit. And it's just not going to happen. I want to share your opinion, Jeff. Thank you. JJ, Happy New Year yourself, buddy. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Art. JJ, first of all, I don't think Nevada is I think Nevada's okay. Steve Alford doesn't think he's got a good team. He thinks it's one of his worst teams. It might be true. They're not as good as Boise State. They're okay. They're better in New Mexico right now. The newness every year is really rubbing people the wrong way. And I know you talk about this all the time, the transfer portal.
But also you have to take into account you were going to be without 4 dudes no matter what. Like J.J. Caldwell, Carlton Bragg weren't coming back. Jay Colonel graduated, and Vance Jackson transferred.
Right. Yep. So who are they? Where were you on this? Is it because they've not had time, because they're behind everybody? Is it because they're not very good? Are they not well coached? Like, why are they? Is it all of that? Where are you right now on why they're losing by double digits every night in this league?
The team that we saw against Nevada when it was more comparable competition on the other side is, I really think the Lobos we're going to see throughout the season. Like, there's going to be moments, it's going to be a struggle offensively all year long. I don't see, you could practice the next 7 days for 12 hours straight, and I don't necessarily see this team getting that much better offensively. So it's going to be a grind, and they're going to have to make it a half-court battle. It's going to have to be ugly. And you're talking about Rod Brown. He was brought in to be a grinder. Like, Rod Brown wasn't brought in to score 20 points a game. Like, he's a rebounder. Hopefully he scores inside. It's just when you don't have that perimeter scoring, when you don't have those creators, all your deficiencies across the board are highlighted. And then you see a bunch of young dudes in the post, like Byron Matos playing his first D1 basketball. I don't care how the dude looks like he lifts weights. That doesn't help you when you're in the post in terms of, footwork and your touch around the basket. Valdir Manuel just trying to get accustomed to the Division I game. Like, there's so many things that, yes, I get it with the frustration of the roster turnover. It also was it was going to happen. Like, they were coming into this year regardless with dudes that were leaving the roster at the end of their eligibility and other stuff that was going on. And then you compound that with not having the practice ability, it's going to look that much rougher. When it's all said and done over these first 4 games, I think the biggest disappointment, regardless if we're talking about practice time or not, is free throw shooting. 30 in the last 2 games.
It's a hard one. Yeah, that's a hard one. It's a hard one to swallow. 505-246-0610. I will get you your opinions. I've got, man, it's good to be back. Certainly know that my email machine's working. Goodness gracious. Look, I got a bunch I got to get to you. A bunch. You got some opinions. We'll do that. We'll get through the NFL stuff more. Steph Curry went for 62 last night. 62 last night. He's washed up, though. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
That ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Over dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A little jump step in the...
And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Jalen Bond back. LAU. Put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish.
stop through.
Play with the gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a. Hill, little step, high window, and a.
Got the second.
To the middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime.
You know the Jordan meme, right? I take all that personally. It's just an opportunity to kind of assert my will on the game early and try to create some energy and get off to the right foot.
Steph Curry, amidst all the football, amidst all the hoopla over the weekend, Steph Curry went for a career high 62 last night. 137-122, his Golden State Warriors beat Portland at Chase Center in San Francisco. He had heard it all, that he was done, that he wasn't very good, that he was washed up, that he was nothing without Klay Thompson, that the injury had done him in, and that was his response. 18 of 31 from the field. 8 of 16, 50% from three-point land. JJ, a very unlobo-like 18 of 19 from the free throw line. I had 5 rebounds and 4 assists to go with it as well. 62 for Steph Curry last night, who I don't know if he reasserted himself as one of the best players in the league. I don't know that he needed to. Maybe he does. But for one night, Steph Curry showed you what he can do. Now, is he all the way back? You know my feelings on Steph Curry. I think he is the best shooter I've ever seen. That includes Pete Maravich. I'm not sure I saw Pete Maravich much, but I saw clips. But consistently, over a long period of time, with range and creativity, he's the best shooter I've ever seen. Doesn't mean he's the best player I've ever seen. I still think he's got something left. We'll see how much left. But boy, last night he sure showed he's got something left.
He did need to send a reminder because too many people were questioning Steph Curry. And it really came down to, well, he's a dude. He's pretty good, but he's not that dude in terms of someone that can carry a team with no one else around him. And I don't think anyone was expecting Steph Curry to carry this team to an NBA championship. But you're going to find out, okay, is he still elite with dudes who can't shoot around him? They have a roster around Steph Curry that Draymond can't shoot. Kelly Oubre has been one of the biggest disappointments in the NBA this season. Andrew Wiggins is just a mess still on the basketball court. And then you have Steph Curry. And there are still very few dudes in this game that can do what he did last night. And what he did was send a reminder to everyone, going, all right, yeah, maybe we're not championship team. Yeah, I need my splash bro, Klay Thompson, to be really special. But I'm still a dude that can make your night a nightmare and can shoot the basketball better than anyone else in this league.
Can light it up offensively as well as anybody that there is, including LeBron James. And on any given night, on a Sunday night, in January, he can go off and go nuts against Portland. All right, I got a bunch of emails. This Jeremy's in. It's Jeff at 610knml.com if you want to hit me. JJ at 610knml.com if you want to hit JJ. Jeremy's replying to what Rudy said. He said, did Lobo football really improve, or was the Mountain West just bad this year? San Jose State is your champion, question mark? It's a total joke, as they showed in their bowl. Nick Stigl is a nice player that fell in their lap, but the Spartans are the cream of the crop in this league, then this league is in trouble. Why? Why does it have to be Boise State or the league's not good? I think that take is so off, Jeremy, to be with all due respect. Why is it a joke that San Jose State won? Because they've been bad over the years? San Jose State lost their bowl game. They were without a bunch of players. They got beat by the champion of another league. I know if it's Ball State, then they can't be very good. And if San Jose State won, then the league's down. San Jose State was pretty good this year. San Jose State manhandled Boise State. San Jose State was good. Now, I don't know if that program's going to be able to sustain. We'll watch. Did Lobo football improve? Did you watch it? How do you think Lobo football didn't improve? I'm not sure. I mean, you can hate all you want. I'm not telling you the league was great. I'm not. But everybody told me the American was great, and they went 1-6 in bowl games, and the Mountain West went 2-0 against them. Well, Jeff, they only beat Tulane and Houston.
Who were both favored in those games?
Double-digit favorites, I think, in both games, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I mean, am I wrong on that? I think that take is so far off.
I think it's far off. I was very disappointed with how the season ended for San Jose State, but they were the best team in the conference, and it wasn't because everyone else was just bad. Like, in a full season, San Jose State would have been in that same situation, competing to win not just the West, but the Mountain West overall.
So he's telling you that's a bad thing, though. That means that the league is down. If somehow, that's like if New Mexico competes for the league championship, then the league's got to be bad, right? I mean, that's exactly what that's telling me, isn't it? What's the difference between New Mexico and San Jose State?
I've viewed it differently. I think it's a positive for the Mountain West, a team like San Jose State improved.
See, that's how I feel.
And is playing better because you need the depth as a conference, not just one team out there winning it every year.
I agree totally. Every year we're sitting here and saying, well, the bottom of the league's got to rise. The bottom of the league's got to get better. UNLV and San Jose State and New Mexico have got to get better. We got a team at the bottom of the league that got better. And they won your league. And somehow that's a bad thing? Like, it can only be good if San Diego State or Boise State win. Like, Jeremy, I think your point is just you're wrong. You're just flat out wrong. James says on Danny Gonzalez, Jeff, when I hear Lobo basketball fans ask me when does Danny Gonzalez, he calls him Gonzalez, and football start up again, that's not a good sign for your bellwether program. If Lobo Athletics is going to survive COVID, they're going to need a strong 18,000, as the announcer said Saturday night, returning to Wise Pies ASAP. That's from James. You're not getting anybody in that building anytime soon. I mean, can they survive? How does anybody else survive? Ticket revenue. Got more for you. Keep them coming in. You can hit JJ on the Twitter. It's _JJ Buck or JJ at 610knml.com. I'm at Jeff at 610knml.com. Watch us on the ProView Networks. ProViewNetworks.com or on our Facebook page, The OD in the AM. And every day at 3 o'clock, replay the show on Comcast Channel 26. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Let's play it over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
Over this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hidon. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hidon. The two-hand hammer by Hidon. I knew he was going to put that one down.
Macro-View networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh!
Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On a last-second shot.
He did.
Oh
My God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double-teamed and somehow found a way to get it in.
Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
They call it Black Monday every Monday after the final day of the regular season in the National Football League. Coaches get fired. 2 of them have been fired, one on Sunday, one on Monday. 5 openings now in the National Football League. This morning, Doug Marrone was let go in Jacksonville. Last night, you got the Jets opening when Adam Gase was let go. Of course, there's openings currently in Detroit, Atlanta, and Houston. It's the opening drive. I think there's no openings here. 505-246-0610. The opening is on the phones. Or email Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. We've had conversations about what the best job is available in the National Football League. You think it's Houston. I think I tend to agree with you. Lenny thinks it's Jacksonville, where they're going to get a franchise quarterback. They have 11 draft picks overall, and they've got all the cap space that they could need to try to put something together. I think they might have the makings of a decent defense if they bring in the right people. I think we all agree that Detroit might be, I don't know, do you think Detroit or the Jets is the toughest job? The Jets are going to be starting, well, who knows what you're going to be starting with?
I think it's Detroit.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's just something hasn't worked. You have a good NFL quarterback, and yet no one's been able to really take it to the next level.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one there as well. All right, if you want to get on the playoffs, Cowboy fan, where are you going? Is this year for the Cowboys? You get a pass? As much as you wanted to make the playoffs and you woke up yesterday morning thinking you had a chance. Dak was hurt. First-year head coach. COVID. Zeke wasn't really good. Do you get a pass, or do you sit here and say, wait a minute, man? They won the division at 7-9. All we had to do was go 7-9, and we could have won the division. Do you get a pass? Well, Dak's going to be back. Well, is he, by the way? Are we certain Dak Prescott's your quarterback next year? I've asked you this before. If I'm Dak, am I signing it? Now, I don't think that they can afford to franchise tag him. Maybe they can. What's it going to be? Mid-40s, 40 millions next year to franchise Dak? You either know he's your quarterback or you don't know he's your quarterback by now. You just signed Kellen Moore, 3 more years to be your offensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy's going into his 2nd year. If I'm Dak Prescott and I'm looking around the league and I'm saying, I mean, they were good to me, I guess, but is this where I want to be, or are there better spots for me? Do I look around and say, I wonder if they'd want me in Vegas, San Francisco? There's some good teams out there that might be a quarterback away from making a run at this thing. What are they going to do in Pittsburgh long term? I'm not totally, now I would tell you I think it's 80% that he's going back, but I'm not totally convinced Dak Prescott's going back and going to be the quarterback there. And I'm not sure he should.
I think that's a fair number to put on it, like 80%, because San Francisco would have to do a lot to bring in Dak Prescott because you're still paying Jimmy Garoppolo a lot of money. I do not think the Raiders' job starting quarterback job is better than the Dallas Cowboys quarterback job right now, because I don't think you can go in there and beat Patrick Mahomes on a consistent basis.
What about New
next year
England?
Dallas could absolutely win the NFC East.
New England, Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, I'm very intrigued about. New England, the first thing I do is I call Bill Belichick and say, hey, do you know how to select wide receivers? If the dude is not named Julian Edelman, do you know what it takes to have players at that position in this league?
Okay. Fair enough. What if Drew Brees retires?
Well, it's Taysom Hill.
Stop it. What if Drew Brees retires and there's an opportunity for him to go there? Is he from Mississippi? Did he just go to school at Mississippi State? I know, but is he from? Where did Dak grow up? Do you remember? I mean, I don't know if that means anything to go home. I'm just my whole point with you is I'm not certain that he's back. But Cowboy fan, is this just a? Is this just a? Do you chalk this one off? Is this just a? Do you get a pass this year? Or is this one of those where, man, that was really bad, and what are we doing?
It was really bad, but it's not into the category of failed miserably, because you started 4 different quarterbacks. If you start 4 different quarterbacks in this league, you ain't going to be successful.
Micah, you're a Cowboy fan.
No.
Where are you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You could chalk it off because Dak got hurt. You went through all the quarterbacks. If Dak wasn't hurt and you had this season, then you wouldn't be able to chalk it off in my mind.
All right. So in the NFL, if you lose your quarterback, then you can write the season off. All right. Did any quarterback?
Ben DiNucci and Blake Bortles' cousin, who was it that played? Who was
Garrett Gilbert?
Garrett Gilbert.
All right. Bears are in the playoffs. They started 2 quarterbacks, right? Saints are in the playoffs. They started 2 quarterbacks, not 4. I got no one who started 4. I got no one. Rams started 2. Washington started 3, didn't they? They won the division. Yeah, I think 4 is extreme, especially when one of them is Ben DiNucci. But Ben DiNucci will be your next offensive
coordinator. You don't have QB5 coming in to save your season at the end.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But they didn't get better, JJ. It was just a bad league. They just didn't get better. All right, emails. Bill says, Don Wells, R.I.P. Jeff, was the best moment of the OD of 2020 when you asked Ginger or Marianne, and Jeffrey responded both. It was a good moment. It was a good one. It was, it was good. Bruce says, you're hurting the program. Jeff, remember, that's what... I'll read this later. Let me get to John. Let me go to the phones, because since John's there. John, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. What's up?
Good morning, guys. It's been a long time since I called in. Triple Jack 21, if you remember.
Yeah.
Dallas, I hope you guys had a Happy New Year and everything and a Merry Christmas as much as you could. With the Dallas Cowboys, you have to remember, obviously Dak's injury. The entire offensive line was makeshift almost the entire year. Their defense was hurting. They lost some defensive linemen. Sean Lee and Vanderish were hurt. They lost their entire starting defensive backfield for several games. They were playing guys they signed off the street in the practice squad. And, it was a lost year. Mike McCarthy's a slug on the sideline. Why he didn't challenge that call towards the end of the game when the ball clearly hit the ground, a la Des Bryant when Dallas played Green Bay up there when he was coaching them. Mm-hmm. I don't know where McCarthy's head is. It's just it's mind-boggling how dumb he coached this year. I know he had to take some chances because some players were hurt. But, I know everybody deals with injuries. But, you had your entire stud offensive line and your quarterback who almost had 2,000 yards passing through 4 games or gone for most of the year. And you got the redheaded, kid, Dalton, trying to, play quarterback in that situation. I'm a Dallas fan, of course, have been all my life, but, what a crappy year. I mean, it could get any worse for him.
Let's hope
so.
not.
Anyway.
All right, John.
By the way, are you still there?
Yeah.
Dak is from Louisiana, so who knows?
Yeah. I just wonder. Yeah, for him, what's the best spot? John, thanks for the call. I just wonder for him, what's the best spot? For Dallas, the best answer is him to be quarterback. On the injuries, look, yeah, they were really injured. The offensive line was beat up. Show me an offensive line in the NFL that's not beat up. Their defense was horrible, and I get it, man. There was injuries, but Mikey, you tell me, you're a Cowboy fan. I mean, so you chalk this up and you say, yeah, let's run this back again next year. They took a lot of big swings at big-name guys who were risks on the defensive side that just flat out didn't work. They were a historically bad offense for the majority, or defense for the majority of the season.
And that's my thinking. There's still no excuse for the defense, but credit to the defense and Mike Nolan. The latter part of the season, they were able to shore up the defense and look like the better part of that team. But yeah, I mean, I'd say next year just run it back, but you need to make some changes defensively with some different guys in there.
Yeah, I don't know how you look at that and say, yeah, we're just a couple injuries away. And I don't think that's what John was saying, by the way. Don't get me wrong. It's been a good run for Micah, but he wasn't able to bring together another championship belt to Clemson, Jeff. That's from Glenn.
But I did win my fantasy championship, so there's one championship belt.
Bam. It's really way bigger than winning Clemson, I think. Mike says, WTH, Jeff Alou. Are you still at home? I thought Cumulus Studios and business offices were going to be fully open by January 4th. You keep thinking that, man. New year, same thing. I got one. Where's this one? This is from Gopher. He says, I'll never complain about Jerry Palm or Chris Jans' phone again, Jeff. Not after having to suffer through Nedward Abraham James last week. What was the deal? Was he just like on a 1970 speaker phone in his basement last year? Last week?
Echo we had trouble figuring out on his end.
Was he using the same equipment we're using?
Yes.
Really? Yeah, I was listening to it too. I heard Hunter at one point said, "What are you?" Hunter asked him something.
We
like,
had
in the basement.
Yeah, the clean feed broke out on both of us on that one. It's just
really.
Do your
right,
best,
Gopher.
man. I get it. It can be difficult. Apologies. We last week was. I know no one cares. Everyone had a hard week, so whatever. But we're on to a new week. There we go.
Well, Gopher, then I never want to hear you complain about Jerry Palm or Chris Jans' phone again.
Jerry, you missed it. Jerry Palm got a new iPhone 12. He sounded crisp and clear.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
You got a new one?
Yep.
New service and everything?
Not sure how to work it. Didn't answer me the first time, but he figured it out.
He's the best, man. All right, Omar says, so proud of the Dallas Cowboys, Jeff. Yesterday you saw the heart of a champion fighting until the end. If there's one thing from 2020 that will haunt Omar for a long time, it's November 1st walking into Veterans Stadium with a fifth-string walk-on quarterback, Jim Villanucci. As far as Philly, way to roll over and just hand those NFC East championship belts to Washington. That was sickening. It's from Omar. You know what would have been more sickening, Omar? If you'd have beat the Giants earlier in the day and that was you sitting in the waiting room having to eat that stuff that Doug Peterson was dishing out. That's what would have been more sickening. Imagine that, Cowboy fan. As sick as that was, honestly, where would your mind be this morning, Micah? If you'd have beat the Giants and it was the Cowboys who would go to the playoffs if the Eagles would have won last night and you watched that crap last night. You'd have lost your mind.
But honestly, I was expecting it, though. I knew whoever was going to win this game, I was like, watch, Cowboys are going to win this, and Washington's going to take care of the business, and none of this is going to matter. So I was expecting it.
But no one was expecting it with Nate Studfeld on the field.
Right.
So you can't have that same mindset of you're preparing yourself to be disappointed when Philadelphia put in a third-string quarterback for no reason.
Voluntarily, they pulled a guy who was being somewhat effective. Like, that's where that comes down to. Where's Giant fan today? Isn't there's got to be Giant fan around here. Like, wouldn't you love to be listening to WFAN this morning in New York And those guys losing their mind. It's Vinny from Queens, and that Doug. I put a hit. I called my Uncle Tommy, and he's going down there, and he's going to take him out. That's unacceptable, Joey Stinkfeld or whatever his name was. How the hell you throw him out there, right? You'd have lost your effing mind.
Yeah,
I would have.
It's one thing to prepare for the worst and expect the worst because we're all conditioned at some point in our sports fandom to realize that, but not when it would have been Nate Sudfeld for no reason. And still, I don't. And the fact that Doug Peterson, like early in the week, even planned that bomb he was going to drop on everyone, going, maybe Nate Sudfeld could get in some action. Why? This isn't Rudy. It's the NFL. It's like you want a good job, good effort. Let him go out there and take a knee on a player or something, not just throw him out there. What do you need to know about Nate Sudfeld in year 4? Year 4, what do you need to know?
Or you put him out there for his first 2 possessions. He threw a quack interception and dropped the snap to a fumble that led to points. I've seen enough. Jalen, you're back in. Go win us a football game. Like, honestly.
That was my favorite part too, is how Chris Collinsworth just kept talking about the offensive line and just like waiting for a reaction shot on the sideline of one of those dudes just absolutely losing it, like blowing up, and just saying bleep this. And just someone storming up to Doug Peterson going, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing at this point?
You put me through this all week and told me to prepare to win a football game, and this crap? I'm blocking for this guy? He can't even catch the snap. It's the opening drive at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. It's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay, I got you. Measurement. Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out. A foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off. Great hit. He bounces off. Outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores. Got into it and had some nice looks at the rim. Win inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo. Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Goes to the far side push. Shot on aim. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it.
I guess that's fair. I took 2 weeks out, lost to the Jets. Look at you guys go. The Pro View guys are jamming. It's like a club. They haven't been to the club in a while. Big win for the Rams. John Wolford was their quarterback. How do you feel about that? So I don't care what your team is. You're going into week 17. Got to win to get in. Big Bad Jackie's here. And I say to you, I don't care if your team's the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Steelers, the Browns, the Chiefs. I don't care. What if I said, you got to win this game and John Wolford's your quarterback? And you, John Wolford, who's won 0 games in the NFL, how you feel about
Arizona, like everyone did. And as much as we're going to hit Tua and Miami for a disappointing performance, Josh Allen was starting on the other side. This was John Wolford. And the Rams have a very good defense. It was a bad last month for Kyler Murray. Yeah, he was banged up. He had a shoulder issue. He got stepped on. So Chris Streveler had to play some for Arizona. That's a team that was going to feel really disappointed this entire offseason, knowing that Kyler Murray, a must-win game, had that many issues on the field.
Chris Streveler against John Wolford. That's good living. So the Rams get.
That's what you'd expect out of, say, a Jets Dolphins game in Week 17 in a normal year. Not hey, the winner of this game gets to the playoffs.
Here's the crummy part about it. If the Rams do win, and I think they're going to beat Seattle. I do. I think they're going to beat Seattle. I don't know why I think they're going to beat Seattle. I tend to have a pretty good read on the Rams, at least this year.
Even if it's John Wolford playing?
Yeah. I that's where I am right now. But then they got to go to Green Bay if they win, which is a bummer on that. But yeah, it's good to ram it once in a while after losing to the Jets. I haven't taken it from Sean yet, by the way. Did he call in and give it to me?
No, I think he went on vacation. Got that one win. He's like, I'm going to enjoy this.
I'm done. Then they got another win. Grady, good morning. You're on the opening drive. Hello, Grady.
Clearly heard voices of the OD and the AM. What's going on?
That's right. Happy New Year to you.
Merry New Year to everyone. Merry New Year. So, Jeremy's email to me was a perfect segue into what I've been harping on for a long time. So imagine if folks that have the same attitude as Jeremy, that it has to be a big name, and if it's not a big name, there's got to be a problem, are deciding who's playing for the national championship. Imagine if some of those folks are the talking heads, talking experts. Some of them maybe even played in these quote-unquote blue blood programs and have maybe even subconsciously decided that a team's name and a team's zip code somehow or another disqualifies them from being a quality program. Now, on a very, very microscopic scale, I live in a place where the coaches have convinced athletes that the name on the jersey and the zip code where they live don't matter and that they can compete with anybody. And just think about that. Now, it's a good thing that the Mountain West didn't follow this formula, because when they actually played it out on the field, the best team shook out and won. So going back to the 4-game BCS, the Ohio Ohio State victory, now that was a huge upset, and huge upset on a couple of fronts. One, obviously, point spread, because the folks in Vegas, the experts, they were way off. And then two, quote-unquote, the eye test, and what we had been hearing, that they were just so completely wrong. And imagine that if you actually let champions compete, anything can happen. And what really, at least in my opinion, because I didn't have a dog in that fight, what made it compelling to a non-fan was that, wow, they really are doing this. This is a good game. And that, to me, was a huge driving force. Now, then you take the first game, well, that kind of went as scripted, and I can hear people already, well, Oregon would have got killed, or Cincinnati would have got killed, or whoever. It's like, well, what happened to Notre Dame? So getting killed, deciding pre-game, well, I predict they're going to get killed, and because they're not a good squad, that shouldn't determine whether or not they get to play or not. And so whoever figured that Notre Dame would be competitive, well, they were wrong too. So if it's going to be a lopsided game, you might as well have a team that won their conference championship in there and let them see how it plays out. So, Jeremy, I appreciate that horrible take email, because that perfectly encapsulates, at least in my opinion, the issue with college football, because anything can happen. If you let teams actually play it out on the field, who knows? Maybe who you think is the best team really isn't the best team.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
the time.
Hey, look, you can tell me that Boise State is a better program than San Jose State, and I'm listening to you, and you're right. You can tell me that a program is better, but that doesn't mean that's the champion this year. His point is, Alabama's the name, Clemson's the name, but let them play because Iowa State might beat them, or Cincinnati might beat them. And he's absolutely right. The San Jose State was the best team in this league. They're not the best program. They're not close to the best program in the Mountain West Conference. They were the best team this year. Ball State's not the best program in the MAC. They were the best team in that league this year. They won it. Iowa State isn't the best program in the Big 12, but they were in the championship game this year. There's a difference between best team and best program. It doesn't mean that the league is down because San Jose State won. It means the bottom of the league has risen up and gotten a little bit better. It's like if the Jets ever win the AFC East. That's cute. Sean, I'm here to take it. 2 weeks later. What's good, Sean? Merry New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. I think the best thing that the Rams can do for us, since they took Trevor Lawrence away, is beat Seattle, give us a better first-round pick.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
I'd like that too.
I was speaking to JJ a while ago about generational talents come around so often now in college. I don't mind if we don't take Fields.
I agree with that too. I don't think they need to take Fields.
And there's no way we're taking Wilson. That is a reach.
Okay.
But I think we trade back. That's the best thing. Get more capital. Work on our rebuild like we were supposed to. It's been so inconsistent, so bad for so long. We need something better.
Now, you need a lot.
But who do you think we trade back with if possible? Falcons at 4, Lions at 7?
Falcons, maybe. JT, don't you think the Lions are going to stick with Stafford for a little bit? Doesn't he have a few more years left on a big dollar contract? I guess Ryan does too, though, huh?
Yeah, but don't you want to build now with someone you might potentially see as Fields as being someone that could be your next franchise quarterback?
Let's see what the Justin Fields conversation is a week from tomorrow. Sean, I like Justin Fields. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. He had a really, really, really good performance on national television, the national semifinal, a couple days ago. Let's see what he follows it up with against Alabama. If Alabama makes him look pedestrian, are we having the same conversation a week from tomorrow?
Potentially. A couple of good games doesn't really justify taking the guy at number 2, in my opinion.
Well, and certainly one will not. That's my whole point. I just tame yourself on the Justin Fields conversation. He looked great. He was really, really good. He's gutsy, playing with his broken ribs. And, JJ, that might be the out if he doesn't play well against Alabama. Well, he's got 6 broken ribs.
Well, Breeze had a living in a punctured lung, right?
Yeah, that's right, and he's 40 years old.
But the one last thing I want to talk about is Matt Nagy, the Bears coach.
Yeah.
They committed to the guy again. Why?
Because they made the playoffs.
I don't think that justifies it. Either you pull Trubisky, go on a 5-game skid, he deserves his job to be gone.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on. Have a good one.
The thing on Fields, do you think I'm wrong, or do you think he earned that spot? Because I think he's good. And I
think what we have to realize, Justin Fields is not the number 2 quarterback because he beat Clemson. He was in that conversation at the start of the season. And he was – Ohio State struggled. He wasn't good against Northwestern, and so he's really simmered off. I don't think anyone – if you're looking at Atlanta and Detroit, like who's ever in charge, because I think Detroit's looking for a new general manager too at this point in time, is going to have to fall in love with one of these guys, because the way it sits, Miami's there at 3, and then you have Atlanta at 4, and what Detroit at 7.
So it might fall to him anyway.
Quarterbacks could fall. Fields and Zach Wilson could fall. So I think if you're the New York Jets, that's always option number 1. If you can get more first-round picks or more second-round picks, you're in a situation where you're evaluating Justin Fields and Zach Wilson versus Sam Darnold. In this case, with Trevor Lawrence off the table, then you take the best lineman available, whether it's the best pass rusher or best offensive tackle, since you got a pretty darn good left tackle. That kid out of Louisville looks like he's going to be around for a while. And hope the coaching staff that you bring in, like Sam Darnold, and feels that they can win in the next 2 years, because you only have Darnold under rookie quarterback control for 2 more years. And then you got to make that decision if he's worth X amount of money.
So top 10 picks, Jacksonville will go quarterback. I don't think the Jets will. Okay, I just don't. I don't think they should. I don't think those guys are better than Sam Darnold. Miami at 3 will not. Atlanta may. Although, does Atlanta at 4, with Matt Ryan under contract and the money they've got into him, do you think they go quarterback at 4?
You have to take it into consideration, because a lot of people are now looking at Detroit last year because they were trying to go all in with Matt Stafford and Matt Patricia, and it's like, well, you missed on Herbert, you missed on Tua, just because you thought Matt Stafford owed a lot of money. Well, maybe you just need to restart. And I think that's where the Falcons are.
So maybe they go at 4. Bengals won't at 5. Eagles, I got to believe, will not at 6. Then there's the Lions at 7. Carolina's at 8. Does Carolina trade up for a quarterback? Is Carolina a team that at number 8, Teddy Bridgewater, this was your year to experiment. Let's have this conversation when we come back. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Mahomes with the snap, floats it toward the back.
Can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got him. What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Rise and fire. He's fouled.
He used to coach for Del Norte, and
Here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Trying to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku! Oh! Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Bars Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam on home.
So if the Jets don't want a quarterback at number 2, do they take a lineman? Do they trade back? Carolina's sitting at 8. I would tell you, I think Carolina needs a franchise quarterback more than the Lions. I would tell you, I think they're more desperate to do it this year than the Lions or the Falcons who are in front of them.
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah. Carolina thinks they're close. They got an okay defense. They've got some weapons on offense with DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. Christian McCaffrey's going to come back next year. I think they got to believe if they had a young stud quarterback, they'd be able to make a run at this thing, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't think Justin Fields or Zach Wilson drop below that spot. Like one of those
Below
guys.
8?
Yeah.
I think one of them would drop there naturally.
Yeah, possibly a Zach Wilson. I think Justin Fields, ultimately, when you look at him overall, he still profiles well to the next level. You don't want to get too high or too low on either of these games, whether it's beating Clemson or what happens against Alabama, because you want to say, all right, who is he as a quarterback overall? Because one game can't cloud your judgment either way when you're evaluating players. I think the Carolina situation, Matt Rule spent the entire draft, his 7 selections last year on defense. And so they realized, all right, this is probably the biggest hole on this team. We'll try to get by with an affordable Teddy Bridgewater at this point in time. They won 5 games this year. Now, with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, hoping Christian McCaffrey just puts this year far behind him, yeah, you're sitting there going, oh, we get a young rookie quarterback in here. We could compete for this division.
Yeah, I think so too. And so I think Carolina, if you're saying who would the Jets look to now, would they want to trade 4 with Atlanta or 7 with the Lions? Yeah, I think 4 is better than 8, obviously, right? So they'd rather be there. But I think if you're looking for what you're going to be able to get, Atlanta's the one. Let's see who goes in there, right? They're looking for a new GM and a new head coach. right? Where does Atlanta go? I think Atlanta's a mess, to be honest with you. I think they've got two really good receivers, but I think defensively they're not good. They invested a little bit in Todd Gurley. I just don't think that's the answer there. To me, Atlanta's a team that was so close a couple of years ago and has fallen off. Detroit's a mess because they're Detroit and they're always a mess. But I think those two teams, to your point, they've got franchise quarterbacks who are on the back end, and they've got real decisions to make, certainly because of money too.
Yeah, they're stuck. And it's the situation that people think about, like when you can't pay Dak Prescott because you're going to be here. Well, Dak Prescott's not 37 or 38 years old. So it's a different conversation. It's like these guys are on the back end, and Atlanta went through their push. They got to the Super Bowl. They blew a Super Bowl. So ultimately, when you look at it as overall for Matt Ryan in Atlanta, it worked. It's just they're stuck on the back end of the contract coming down from their peak. Matt Stafford, that franchise has never been able to do anything stable year in and year out around him. And also it feels like every little thing that can go wrong does for Matt Stafford, whether it's his back or he tweaks his ankle in that game against Tampa Bay and they run through 3 quarterbacks and Tom Brady scores, throws 4 touchdowns. And I didn't even know like Blaine Gabbert was their back quarterback and he came in and threw 2 more. And it's just like nothing can go right for Detroit.
Yeah. All right. I got email and a text on Global Basketball. JJ Brandt says that was disgusting in Lubbock this weekend, Jeff. If you're a fan of either team, you're really excited because Steve Alford and Nevada's Mercenaries beat Global Basketball's Mercenaries. Is that what college basketball has become? Whatever happened to guys walking on campus as a pimply-faced 18-year-old freshman, not even shaving yet, and walking out as a 23-year-old man with a degree in your hand? Brant, watch a movie. I don't know what to tell you. Like he think his word for transfer is mercenary, right? Mm-hmm. Guys that you watch a team year to year, you have no idea who they are, especially at this level in this league. Especially in this league. Now I'll tell you, I think global basketball is more than most. But he didn't recognize either team. He finds the transfer stuff. He misses the good old days of give me 4 years of Hunter Green and 4 years of Rob Robbins and 4 years of Clayton Shields. And
you wouldn't give a coach 4 years to do that anymore. Because if you look at this roster, Brant, Byron Matos, freshman, right? You guy that you hope McQuatch Malawach is a 4-year guy. Kirk Wedge-Schneider in his second season with the program. You brought in Nolan Dorsey. You have Manu Quach. You have Isaiah Marin who came in. You have Javante Johnson. So there's a whole bunch of freshmen that you're recruiting that you're hoping stay around. Like, what did you expect this roster to look like this year? Without transfers, they'd be playing 8 like true freshmen.
Especially because, to your point, the guys that they lost because of whether they ran out of eligibility or they had to leave. All right, Jeffrey says on the Lobos, 1, lack of outside shooting. 2, bad spacing. 3, big men with few offensive skills. 4, guards that don't drive the basket. 5, inexplicably bad free throw efficiency. 6, biggest problem is the increasing indifference to the program. Most people who witness 18,000 screaming fans are 50 plus, and they're literally dying. Do you think this program's... Ooh, all right, there's a breaking news. Chargers have fired Anthony Lynn. I don't think that's... we'll get into that. Hit me on what Jeffrey said real quick. There were 6 points. Do you disagree with any of it?
No, you're going to... If you can't shoot, then you're going to have struggle spacing. It's going to be a problem. You don't have confident perimeter playmakers. I can't explain the free throw shooting. Like, it's okay. You might struggle with your jumper or shooting threes, but you got to figure out some work on the line. And yeah, the post play, you have Byron Matos, who's really raw. You have Valdir Manuel, who is really raw. That's the thing is you on one side you have a guy complaining that it's an entire new roster and he wants people to develop. Well, okay, you have a bunch of freshmen out there that you're trying to develop. And then on the other side, you have a guy that's like, well, none of these guys are any good.
That's what happens when you don't win, man. If you were 4-0, I don't think Brant would have a problem with the mercenaries, and Jeffrey's points probably wouldn't be true that they couldn't score and that they were missing free throws, right? Winning. All right, latest on the breaking news in the NFL. I'll get through as many of these emails as we can. You got some really good thoughts. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J-Pole, and Josh on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM at AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Call it as Bobby's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. An 8. 2 receivers at the top. Harris has all day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man. Touchdown. Wild catch. Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Webskowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's Krebs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
gonna just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer, and
So,
he hits.
is the Chargers' job now the best job available? The 6 head coaching jobs? Is it better than Jacksonville? Is it better than Houston? Anthony Lynn has been fired. I think it might be. New stadium, good market to attract free agents, stud young quarterback, good receivers.
Stadium. New state. That's like me moving into your house and going, look at this great house I have.
My house ain't all that. All right.
Like the Chargers, look at this cool Rams stadium they let us play in.
Where would you rather be trying to get free agents, to L.A. or to Detroit? Just ask.
All about money.
Ain't a damn thing funny. You got to have a job in this land of milk and honey.
who's ever signing the checks? This ain't quite the NBA where we're talking about destinations. It's who's giving you a chance.
All right. Anthony Lynn, no longer.
Fred and Francisco.
All right. I'll hold some of these emails till tomorrow if I don't get through them and get as many calls as we can. Fred, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Fred.
Hey, guys. Hey, I hate to change the subject, but also, Jeff, great job at the New Mexico Bowl. I mean, the Frisco Bowl got canceled, but here you go and play at Frisco, Texas. So I thought that's pretty cool that you got the bowl win and everything was successful.
Thank you, Fred.
But the thing I want to talk about, JJ is the voice of the Lady Lobos. The Lady Lobos are going through the same thing as the men. They're 2-0 when the conference, playing 2 great games against Nevada, and I thought maybe JJ can let us all know what he thinks about probably the 5 best guards that we've had probably ever for UNM, and then the big girls, McGregor and Watts and who am I forgetting? JJ. The one other big girl.
Inside.
Magruder.
Oh, Magruder, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to hang up though. But I just thought maybe you might talk a little bit about them because here they're having to stay. They left Sunday for Utah. For Utah, yeah, to UTAGs, and they're going to not even come back, I think, till next Saturday or Sunday. So, but I'm going to hang up, talk a little bit about the Lady Lobos because I thought they played real well this weekend. Thanks.
They have shooters. Game of basketball, you got to have some on your roster, and you got the Duff sisters, who, by the way, transferred in and are fantastic
mercenaries
basketball players, along with Jalen De La Cerda, Elise Hurst, who hit over 93-point shots last year. You need them, and then when you have an off shooting night, then you can try to win a different way, which is what they had to do Saturday, which was defend like crazy after going 0 of 10 from 3 in the first half. Find some scores and then develop from there. And this women's basketball team has a bunch of shooters, not like they're relying on just 1 or 2, and that's been really the difference for them this season. I'm looking forward to the next step up, like when they have to play, say, a preseason favorite in Fresno State or going against a Colorado State. They handle their business right now.
How come they didn't have preseason? They didn't have all these practice, like the men, all the things you're telling me about the men. And by the way, I'm not downplaying that, but aren't the women going through the same things? Trying to find places to practice, and they're not home, and they're 4-0. I'm just asking.
Shooters shoot.
Okay, fair enough.
Francis, I think it's a huge thing. It's like, all right, we'll figure out this defense, and if we get into a tight game, but you're going to get perimeter scoring, they have that.
Francisco, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Francisco.
Hey, what's happening, guys?
What's happening?
Not too much, man. Just wanted to comment on the men's basketball. Did you guys notice when they pulled back late in that game from full court press, they actually caught up? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about Paul Weir, and I can't figure him out. And I get that he wants to do full court press and everything, but he's never been good at it. The Lobo teams have never been good at it. They always leave a wide open three-pointer, and we always give up very high percentage on the three-point shooters. Anyway, this is going to sound crazy, but I actually appreciate this team more than last year's. They play harder. They seem to be more of a team, even though they're a bunch of guys that never really played together. I appreciate the effort you guys are giving. I'd rather watch a team that has at least play hard than like last year's team, a bunch of selfish players. But one more last thing, everything said, here we are again back to where we've always been. And I don't know how we ever get out of a funk like this being basketball fans, Lobo basketball fans, or how the program gets out of a funk. But here we are rebuilding again. We've won one tournament game, I think, 20 years, if somebody could check that. But, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm a little discouraged, but then again, I just don't know what to expect from Paul Weir, to be honest with you, or what's the future of him and this program. I did see some improvement, so that's good. And I always say a good coach will show improvement. His team will show improvement. So
yeah, all right, man. No, I appreciate the call.
Game by game, man.
Game by game. Isn't that the truth? And we're gonna watch this play out. See you. All right, JJ.
Welcome
There's still so much. Yeah, it's good to be back. It's a ton to get to on return day. Jim Rome show is next, and Patrick show's after that. Sports Bar this afternoon at 3. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more award-winning radio for you. 7 a.m. You can watch the show, Comcast Channel 26. ProView Networks will have it today at 3 o'clock. Micah, good to see you. J. Paul, Josh, good to see you guys. Thanks for allowing me back, man.
15.
Glad to have
JJ,
you back.
It's good to be back. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll see you tomorrow.
You'll never forget your first car.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.